Yeah, thank you. Next speaker, Timur Berezhnoy. I had a few. Timur.
When I was a little 7-year-old kid, a strange idea once came to my mind. When the teacher calls you to the blackboard, why can't you save game? Just like in a computer game. You really can't, which really makes the life a tough thing, because if you make a mistake, you can't go back and change everything. Maybe this is why when I grew up, I got this big sack of rubbish behind my back. Let's see what we have here. 2011, the All-Ukrainian speech contest. I had a brilliant speech and was ready to win. But I had a bit tough situation in my life in that period, and I didn't sleep well before the contest, and I just had too many butterflies in my stomach. Nevertheless, imagine 200 people in the audience. I start in a nice way. The audience is involved. They are laughing. Their eyes are shining. And after 2 minutes of the speech, I stop. My head is blank. I forgot my speech. For terrible and disgusting 25 seconds, I was walking back and forth like a tiger in a cage, trying to remember what to say. My presentation was ruined. I didn't make it. Oh, this is a funny one. Last year I bought a small piece of land outside Kyiv, and my dream was to build a wooden house there, quite spacious, with bathroom and a terrace. And last year I had enough money to build the house, but I decided to spend money on other things and build the house next year. Guess what happened? In autumn, Ukraine signed some agreement with Europe, and the price of wood went 2 or 3 times higher. So the house I wanted, the same house, now costed not 200,000 hryvnias, but 400,000 hryvnias. Why on earth didn't I buy it when I had the opportunity? And my favorite. 2 months ago, I met the girl of my dream. Wonderful, smart, charming, and she liked me from the first sight. I was like in heaven. This is her, my fair lady, the only one. We had 2 wonderful dates. And on the next day, after our second date, she had a birthday, for which she went outside Kyiv with her family. I wrote her a greeting message on Facebook, and the next day she wrote me back. Timur, thanks for congratulations, but I thought you would call me instead of writing just like everyone else. I don't think you are the suitable guy for me. Take care. And she blocks me everywhere. I was ruined and I was devastated. Why didn't I call? I should have called, really. And I come home to my empty and lonely apartment. I turn on the TV to relax a bit, and I see that man, that guy, Oleksandr Golovko, a famous ex-footballer defender of Dynamo Kyiv. I had seen a lot of his interviews before, and what caught my eye was that he was always very sad. That man never smiled. But for what reason? He was a real star as a player, and now he's quite successful as a coach. So the journalist takes Oleksandr Golovko to a place where you can break plates and says, "Sir, would you write on a plate something you regret most?" And Golovko writes Bayern Munich and smashes the plate against the wall. My gosh, this was the answer. It was his mistake, that historical match between Dynamo and Bayern Munich. And because of Golovko's fault, back in 1999, Dynamo missed the goal at the last minute and missed the chance to go to the Champions League. And he can't forgive himself for all this time. 22 years has passed, and one mistake, one action has been poisoning the person's life. At that moment I understood everything. Just like Golovko, I have a lot to regret. But I don't want my life ruined. I don't want to carry all this rubbish behind my shoulders. I want to be happy. Luckily, there is another side of the medal. The great Winston Churchill said, a kite goes up against the wind, not with it. And however painful a failure is, it is courage to continue that matters. In 2015, I won the All-Ukrainian speech contest. This week, I bought a house. Yes, a 2 times smaller one, but this is truly the house of my dream. As for this, there is a lady in this room, which makes me bless that situation. Never regret anything. Move on. Believe in yourself. And in the end of your happy life, you will be able to sing just like another great man, Frank Sinatra. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and so it's true, without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way.
Dear timers, please, 1 minute on the clock and minute of silence. The minute of silence is over. We are moving on. And next speaker, Nataliia Parubocha, the movie. The movie Nataliia Parubocha.
When I was a 5-year-old girl, I was sure that people get old at 30. When I was 30 years old, I was feeling like life was just beginning. When I was 20 years old and my younger sister worked as a model, I believed that I was too old for that. At the age of 29, I have started my new career of TV presenter. When I was 28 and I was going to a discotheque, my ex-classmate told that at that age I should have had other values. She hadn't had any job by that time since school. However, instead, she had 3 children. In 2 years after that, she opened her sewing atelier, though. What does all that mean? That anyone can do it. Anyone can be successful. You can do it. You can do it. Everyone can do it. You want to be a model. No matter how old are you, just go for it. Look at the number of the age models, people of 60 or 70 years, and they are the models. You wanted to run your own business. Just start it. My 55-year-old neighbor did it, and he's successful. You wanna quit your boring job and travel all over the world? Come on, it's real. My cousin does it. Just believe in yourself. Forget about all of your fears and make your dream come true. This is real, isn't it? No, it isn't. Just forget all that rubbish I have just said. And now let's turn on to the real life. In the reality, my neighbor just built a sauna in the yard by his private house, and all his friends became his clients. My cousin inherited property and money from his father. He just doesn't need to work. And age models. They just became trendy nowadays. And that is the most interesting examples out of 3. Indeed, almost everyone nowadays can devote her time to this stylish photo session and to create Instagram account. And if that person is charismatic enough, here she is. She is shining and inspiring others. Are those models really successful, or is it just a temporary trend? There's another reason and another explanation for that. When I was a 5-year-old girl, my traditional family made me believe that women get old at 30. And after that, they have nothing in their lives but devote their lives to their families. Fortunately, in our country, less and less people think so. When I was a 5-year-old girl, I believed that I would be able to afford myself as much ice cream as I wanted to, only when I'm 23 and I graduated from the university and I get my first job and I can buy it. However, I started working at 16. Nowadays, there are many teenagers who exploit work opportunities, career opportunities, and run their successful businesses by 25. What does all that mean? What's the explanation for that? The world is changing. That is the real explanation. Moreover, the world is changing fast. When I was a 5-year-old girl, mobile phones and the internet were familiar only to the intelligence service. Try to imagine your lives without them today for more than a week. Actually, I tried at the very beginning of the era of mobile phones. In 2003, I had been resisting using mobile phones for 3 months. Then I surrendered. Indeed, many people, some people, resist changes, and probably they are afraid of them. Could 5G be created to conquer our minds or to make us comfortable, more comfortable with that. While some of us believe in conspiracy, others are preparing to benefit from metaverse. When I was a 5-year-old girl, when was I 5 years old? That wasn't much time ago. And there are so many changes in that. Today's world is like a movie. The movie is a fast-changing plot. Many science fiction writers have been trying to predict what's going to be next. But they failed. Most of them failed. We are the actors in that movie. We influence everything. There's no hidden author to that. And I'm really happy to see that reality, to meet that reality. Happy and sad, desperate and inspiring. What's the next stage?
Thank you very much. And 1 minute of silence for city judges. Andrii Tymoshenko, say something in. Say something in. Andrii Tymoshenko.
The baby is the center of attention. The very first cry has been expected. Now everyone is listening, no one interrupting. No one seems irritated by that shriek sound. On the contrary, everyone is on cloud 9. Soon the baby and parents will go through a period of cooing and crying until the baby moves to the stage. The so adorable baby blabbing. The first words such as Dad, Mom will bring parents complete happiness. Thereafter, they encourage their kid, their young child, to speak more, to say something. When they hear their child talking, their eyes start sharing joy. Not only parents, but people around the child will encourage, ask a child to say something. Sunny day, mom and child walking down the street. Unexpectedly, they meet mom's friend. Adults exchange greetings. Mwah, mwah. Mom encourages the kid to say hello. Hi. Oh, what adorable child, says her friend. Child smiles and stands back behind her mom and stands there until the chat is over. Adults exchange goodbyes. Mwah, mwah. Mom urges the child to say goodbye and wave a hand?
Why?
From our birth till now, people sometimes do encourage, request us to say something. If you are learning a foreign language, for example, English or another one, you've been through this situation, at least I did. My family is around the table, we're having a meal together. Conversation is going on. Suddenly, my grandpa started talking to me. Hey, Andrii, you can't speak English? Tell us something. You know. And complete silence. So I start to look. What should I say? What should I say? The only thing I could find was, Grandpa, tell me what should I say, I'll tell you. I wouldn't recommend anyone to use this particular approach to show your ability, language ability. To prove the opposite, I will share a story. It's a story about a man who spent some time in China, and he was going to attend a meeting of his friend. When he arrived, he was asked to offer wedding wishes in Chinese to the newly married couple. He said, okay, no problem. The ceremony carried on, and when his turn approached to give a speech, he looked cool. He looked calm. He went on the stage, grinned at newlyweds and their guests, took out a piece of paper, unfolded, and started to read. Wonderful newlyweds, I'm here to send my best wishes. I will do it in Chinese, so please listen carefully. And he started. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。The warmest congratulations to your wedding. For those to understand what he said, I will say it in English. Wonderful newlyweds, I'm standing here to send my best wishes. So please listen carefully. I'll do it in Chinese. And he started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The warmest congratulations on your wedding. Dear guests, Toastmasters, my message to you is never lose your nerve. Be cool and always know what to say when you are requested to say something. Thank you.
And 1 minute of silence for our judges. dear friends, next speaker, Oleksandr Myronchuk, the blue pill. The blue pill, Oleksandr Myronchuk.
I was trying to pass the physics exam. Do you know what physics is? Physics is pain. Just imagine that from the highest branch an apple flies and hits into the head of a sleeping man. Boom! And then his wife runs out and asks, "You born, is everything okay?" Oh! And object at rest stays in rest, and object in motion stays in motion with the same direction, in the same speed. Oh, apple hits him well. We need a doctor. I was trying to solve this exam, but it was very difficult how to complete this task. 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 And I decided to run. I ran out of the class, and I ran outside. I was running for a long time. When you run, endorphins and serotonin are released in your body. Chemicals in your brain, they improve your moods. Running also improves your memory and ability to learn. You will learn a couple of clever words like endorphin and serotonin to pretend that you understand what is it. This is not all advantages. Second, running promotes neurogenesis. This is process of creating new brain cells. 3, when you run a long distance, you will learn how to break a big wall down into step-by-step processes. This task, this skill, translate your mentally into other things. You will be able to start a new job or a business. 4, if you run in a red suit with a yellow lightning, the people will shout out, "This is Flash, this is Flash!" Okay, the last one is a dubious advantage. After running, I was run out of the classroom and I complete my exam. I finished all the tasks and I got an excellent score for this exam. Do you know why? Because I ran to my friend the physics. Okay, I understand that we all need sports. Sports is our everything, and I started to run every morning. And all came to my life, luxury car, like Lamborghini, Bugatti, Ferrari, yachts, my own mansions. I can no longer walk to the street because everyone asking me for a autograph. And then I hear this awful sound. Beep, 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 beep. This alarm brings me back to reality. It's 7 o'clock, it's time to run. Okay. We all know that red pills for the matrix. So I give you the blue pills for the runner. I ran a little and my knees started to ache. I can no longer run. I was crowding like an old dog. And here I discovered the greatest invention of the mankind. This could change the history of the time of Alexander of Macedon. But it was invented during the time of Alexander Myronchuk. I am telling about the knee pads. The tendons in the knees are rubbed in the beginner athletes, and this thing hold the knees and protect it from the rubbing. Macedonian army ran in armor boots because they didn't know that shoes distribute the all the all force from the foot on the surface. Where if you wear a wrong shoes, it's the same that your shoes will be hit. If it's the same, if your shoes will be hit 20,000 times at one point, like bam, bam, bam. After that, you will probably not be able to walk without a friend who will carry you on his shoulders. And if you plan to run not only forward but also back, you need to track your pulse with the runner tracker and drink a couple of water, because one guy that named Philippines didn't track his pulse. Oh, it's a long story. Okay, now you have all the tricks for beginner runners. So, let's run.
Thank you very much. A minute of silence for the judges. Margaryta Maliukova, Buckthorn and minesweepers. Buckthorn and minesweepers. Margaryta Maliukova.
Buckthorn, minesweeper. What do they have in common? A buckthorn is a type of plant that's used to make tea, like that one. And a minesweeper is a ship that deactivates mines underwater. Can anyone guess what makes them similar? Anyone? No guesses? Going once? Going twice? Fellow Toastmasters, guests, Mr. Contest Chair, what is similar between buckthorn and minesweepers is that a month ago, I had no idea what these words mean. So if you don't, you're not the only one. Most of us here in this room are non-native English speakers, and we have to constantly work on our vocabulary. And there are different ways to do so. Some of us are visual learners. We have to see a word in order to remember it. Others are auditory. We have to hear a word, and then we remember it. Now, my personal strategy for learning words that I don't know is to pretend they don't exist, because they really hurt my pride. Raise your hand if you're proud of something. I think we all have something about us that makes us proud, and for me, that's language skill. I have a university degree in literature, I've lived abroad, I work for a foreign media company. In other words, my ego is huge. But every now and then, there's this buckthorn in my side, and it pricks my pride. I first heard the word buckthorn from a friend of mine. He told me that he likes buckthorn tea. And when he said it, all the blood rushed to my face. Buckthorn? What on earth is that? But did I ask him that question? Of course not. I smiled and nodded. Buckthorn, oh, buckthorn, of course. But deep inside, I was furious. My friend is not a native English speaker. He has not lived abroad. he didn't study languages at university. How dare he know something that I don't? I mean, no offense, Vadym. I really underestimated you. But at home I Googled the word Buckthorn, and this was my strategy later on. I pretend to know things, and I Google them later. But this is not always a good idea when you are a professional interpreter. One day at work, I was translating a news report. Great Britain was supplying ships to Ukraine as part of its defense assistance. And the name of that ship in Ukrainian is Tralshik. I had no idea how to say that. I looked in a dictionary. There were many options. How do I choose? One of the options was trawler. And so I thought, Tralshik, trawler, they sound kind of similar, start with the same letters. I'll go with it. Later, I get a message from my colleague. A trawler is a type of fishing boat. You basically just said that Britain gave us fishing boats to fight Russia in the Black Sea. It was a typo, I said. I was going to say minesweeper, but autocorrect changed it to trawler. I'm not sure that he believed me, but I still have my job. I still wonder why I do. I even asked my colleague, am I going to get fired? Does that incident completely undermine my professional credibility? And you know what he said? To be professional doesn't mean to know everything. But to be honest about what you don't know is part of what makes you professional. Fellow Toastmasters, are you ever afraid to ask a question because you think you'll look stupid? Trust me, you will look much more stupid if you don't ask. Remember the minesweeper. If you want to ask a question, ask your colleagues who are more experienced. Ask your friends who may be less experienced. You can still learn so much. If you can give up your pride, you can accomplish something of which you can be truly proud. Mr. Contestant.
And 1 minute on the clock for our judges. Tetiana Bilous, be free, live without them. Be free, live without them. Tetiana Bilous.
Dear friends, we are growing up with an idea that to be loved by somebody, you have to deserve it, and then deserve it. Our women's society, we can divide it into two camps. A camp of beautiful and a camp of those with nice soul. I think it is the main point why all of us are the victim of stereotypes. Girls, raise a hand who praise your partner your husband for a cooked breakfast, lunch, dinner. Even it was out for dinner. My dear, thank you very much for this dinner. It was the best dinner in my life. Your spaghetti is as nice as beautiful. Really? Just pasta. Pasta is nothing. Girls, we are the victim. We are the victim of the stereotypes. The next question is dedicated to our men. In 1 week, we expect Valentine's Day. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a gift? Or are you waiting for confirmation of existing love? Do we have men there? What are you waiting for? For a gift or confirmation of existing love?
Both. Confirmation.
Confirmation, both? Okay. But tell the truth. Finally, you received something like this. My dear, please take these socks like a symbol of our love. All your steps in the socks will be blessed of my love. We have all been here, I'm right? 8th of March. Anybody knows why men buy bunches of flowers for women in the day of gender equality, reproductive rights, and abuse against women? Are you guilty? What did you do wrong against women? You are the victim of stereotypes. Birthday gifts. It is an all separate topic. My dear, thank you very much for the gift. I dreamt about it. I dreamt about this vacuum cleaner. Only with it I can open my identity and make me happy. Next time, please. You should have presented me a showing stick for yourself at my house. It is a stereotype that the women need something to satisfy their household at their birthday. For example, I need something connecting with the sun, seashore, and new impressions, not with a new refrigerator. Not only with gifts do stereotypes work, but also with our personal attitude to them too. And now stereotypes penetrated into the internet. Once my colleague asked, Bilous, do you have account on Instagram? No, Tom. I'm a dinosaur and I cannot work with and cannot use social media. Don't judge people based on your own opinion, based on your own experience. I tell you a story. My friend Ola has an uncle, 75 years old, who has an account on Facebook. And once, when his photo there was changed on black and white one, everybody understood. It is pity, but time has come. And I wrote Oля. Ola, for me, your uncle would be the best man forever. And hashtag for his name. I received the answer. Thanks, Tanya! From him. Facebook hides comments of other people. And I don't know, but I think that I wasn't alone in it. Especially when next time his photo there was changed on the photo of the sky. I wrote, dear uncle, I believe now you are happy into the better place. I received the answer. Yes, of course, I always like a patience. Guys, don't judge people based on your stereotypes, your experience, opinion of other people. Be free from them, and your life become more easy and more happy.
And 1 minute of silence for our judges. Volodymyr Ukrainets, one day in the history of Germany. One day in the history of Germany. Volodymyr Ukrainets.
Hello guys, please tell me, do you often doubt the rationality of your actions? Raise your hands those who do. So, I sometimes think, maybe it was not worth of it, especially when the consequences are too painful, even with the best of intentions. However, life does not always allow losses. When I face it, I'm inspired by the examples of heroes. Every year, in July 20, wreaths are laid in Berlin to honor those who were executed by the Nazis in the conspiracy against Hitler. This was not the first, but the most serious attempt on the Führer, a result of a conspiracy against him and his accomplices. But Hitler survived. And the hundreds of participants in the conspiracy, primarily military personnel from well-known German families, were executed. The memory of these people, who like other heroes of the resistance saved the honor of the Germans, is highly revered in today's Germany. But the most famous of the participants in the July 20 conspiracy, in fact its head, who carried the explosive device to Hitler's headquarters, was the one, Colonel Klaus Schengraf von Stauffenberg. At that time he was 36 years old, an officer and an aristocrat. After he saw what happened on the fronts, he realized the war was lost. During one of the battles, he was seriously wounded and transported back to Germany. As a result, he lost his eye, right hand, and 2 fingers on his left hand. After that, the Wehrmacht reserve commander, who got sympathy with the conspirators, appointed Stauffenberg as his chief of staff. Thus, the colonel was among those who were invited to meetings at headquarters. The assassination attempt on Hitler became a reality. The night before, Stauffenberg packed two plastic explosives into his briefcase and checked the fuse. Both packages weighed about 2 kilos. It was not easy for his crippled single hand. So he took only one with him to the meeting, passed all the orders, and left one package of explosive with his adjutant. However, this number would be quite enough. As it turned out later, the sailing was turned fall down from the explosion, and the whole was turned into a pile of ruins. 17 people were injured, 4 died. But Hitler survived by chance. Firstly, the briefcase had to be placed closer to the place where the Führer was sitting. Unfortunately, one of the participants pushed the briefcase under the table further because it interfered with him. Secondly, due to the heat, it was the hot weather then. The meeting was removed from the bunker where the explosion was planned to the summer house, which reduced the power of explosion. When the explosion was heard, Stauffenberg, who left the hall under a plausible pretext, hurried to the airfield. He was sure the Führer was dead. So he hurried to Berlin. Now everything was decided there. But, as I said, as you understood, the attempt was failed. Stauffenberg, along with some people, were arrested on in front of the building of the War Ministry. Later, they were shot during the same day. Later, over everyone who even knew about the conspiracy, the Nazis dealt with terrible cruelty. Hundreds of participants were executed, hanged, or shot. The Gestapo, the secret police of the Nazi Germany, also arrested all close relatives of Klaus von Stauffenberg. The children had been changed their surnames and were sent to special orphanage, forbidden to tell who they were. At the end, I want to make an inscription from the German Resistance Memorial Bender block in Berlin. You did not bear the shame. You resisted, sacrificing your life for freedom, justice, and honor. Thank you.
And now, 2 minutes of silence for the judges. friends, and now it's time for voting. For voting people choice award. So I hope every one of you has such small pieces of paper, and I would like to briefly remind you the order of our speakers for today. Speaker number 1, Vadym Yudenko with Gorýatchiy Asphalt. Timur Berezhnoy, I've had a few. Nataliia Parubocha, the movie. Andrii Tymoshenko, say something. Oleksandr Myronchuk, the blue. Margaryta Maliukova, Buckthorn and minesweepers. Tetiana Bilous, the free live without them. And Volodymyr Ukrainets, one day in the history of Germany. This is almost the end of our contest, and I hope at 2 p.m. we are meeting here again for the second part of our meeting. So please announce just a break.
People's choice. Please. People's choice. People's choice. People's choice. People's
Не всі. Я скажу чесно, що вже 44 були.